What is up, guys? Welcome back to Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho. Thank you so much for watching. And today we are talking about the Carolina Panthers draft review. Let's get right into it and talk about some of my guidelines coming into the draft. And first things first, did you come into a plan, and what was the plan? So for the Panthers, the plan was kind of obvious. Look at their draft, and it was defense. They only took defensive players in this draft. That's right. Every single pick was a defensive player. So it makes a lot of sense. I mean, Matt Rule is coming in with a 7-year contract, 7 years, $62 million. So he has a lot of leash to work with, right? And David Tepper, who is the new owner of the Carolina Panthers, bought the Panthers in 2018. He was originally a partial owner of the Steelers. What did the Steelers do? They give their coaches a lot of leeway. In fact, the Steelers have only had 3 coaches since 1969. I'm actually going to stop talking for about 3 seconds, give you a chance to pause and try and guess what the 3 coaches were. On the screen right now. Moving on. So it just makes sense to me that David Tepper would first of all get a guy and give him a long leash, right? Gets Matt Rule that he obviously believes in and says, hey, I'm going to give you every single opportunity to build this team the way you want to build it. That's why I'm going to give you a long contract and give you a lot of leeway. So build this team the right way. Don't make moves that are short-sighted and a long-term detriment to the team, right? And Matt Rule comes in and says, okay, I believe that I want to build my team the right way, and I want to build my team through defense. I'm going to fix the defense first, and then we'll worry about the offense, right? So that's what he does. And you know, I respect it. You came in with a plan, and to me, this is the first step of a 3-year plan or a 4-year plan, whatever it is. I believe he has a clear and obvious plan, and I mean, it starts here. Draft defense. We're going to fix the defense, especially the defensive line. So that's what they did. And then it kind of makes my next 2 points moot, honestly. The next 2 being, did you draft an offensive lineman in the first 4 rounds? No, they didn't. They took all defense. And did you take the strength of the draft, which was wide receiver? No, they didn't. All defense. So we'll actually move on from some of my guidelines and get straight into the picks here. In the first round, with the 7th pick overall, the Carolina Panthers do take Derrick Brown, one of my favorite players in this class. I truly believe Derrick Brown was probably better than Quentin Williams, who was, I believe, the 3rd pick in the draft last year. And I felt like he really belonged in that conversation for the 3rd pick in the draft this year. To me, falling to 7 overall was a huge drop for him, and I absolutely love this pick. Derrick Brown out of Auburn was an absolute home wrecker. He blew up the SEC offensive lines every single week and made life hell for every SEC offensive lineman and SEC quarterbacks on a weekly basis. And he was the anchor of a really good Auburn defense that had 3 defensive players go in the top 50 picks in this draft. So I actually love Derrick Brown. I love this pick, and I love the fit for a team that was clearly hoping he would fall. Like I think obviously they would have been fine with getting Isaiah Simmons at number 8, but I think Derrick Brown was the clear target here because they wanted to fix that defensive line, and they did it. Took a first big step drafting Derrick Brown in the first round. And in the 2nd round, they take their 2nd step at fixing that defensive line with pick number 38, Yetur Gross-Matos. And I probably butchered that name, but he is a defensive end out of Penn State. And this is just another big physical dude and a guy who was widely expected or mocked in the first round throughout the draft process. He was a guy who people easily could have seen going anywhere from 25 to 40. I think that was kind of his range. And he falls right in that range at 38 overall. And you know, I probably didn't love him in the first round, so my range for him personally was probably closer to 35 to 50. I thought that's kind of the type of player he was. Again, falls right in my range, so it worked out either way based on who you want to listen to, but you're on this channel, so you kind of have to listen to me. So they get a guy who, again, just a really big physical dude. He is built like a brick barn. I mean, he's just absolutely humongous, and I really don't feel like he's 100% grown into his body yet. So he actually has a lot of room to grow and develop as a pass rusher. Yes, he's raw, has all the physical tools there, and has an elite upside to his game. And in the second round, again, the Panthers actually trade up to pick number 64 overall at the end of the second round to take Jeremy Chin, safety out of Southern Illinois. And this was a guy, I mean, he's a guy who I actually really just expected to go to the Patriots. I don't know what it was, but even preparing for this video, I had already done the Patriots draft, so I had a intimate knowledge of who the Patriots drafted. But for some reason, I still thought that Jeremy Chin went to the Patriots because it just felt like that much of a Patriots pick. I love this safety out of Southern Illinois. Small school guy, just an absolute monster compared to all the players that he was playing against. And that can be a little bit deceiving when you talk about players like that that just absolutely dominated. But they have the physical ability, they have the size, they have the strength, and I think he has the instincts as well to be a top-end starter. As far as draft day trades, I really already talked about it. The only trade that they made was in the second, third round range, where they move up 5 spots from a third round pick, number 69 overall, to that last second round pick, 64 overall, and they flip a 5th round pick to the Seahawks to make that move happen. So I like that. I always like stuff like that. I mean, you know, the value's there. They're just going up and getting their guy. I love moves like that. So I have no problem with that trade at all. As far as my favorite move in the draft, it is obviously getting Derek Brown. I thought that was just the clear and obvious move at 7 overall. I was actually having an argument with my co-host on the podcast. Check that out, by the way, Between the Pylons podcast. And we talked about it was either Isaiah Simmons or Derek Brown. Those were the clear 2 options, and I was on the Derek Brown side, and the Auburn fan, was actually on the Isaiah Simmons side. So I actually won the shot bet that we had on that, and that was a good time. Shout out to Jacob, by the way. But yeah, I absolutely love that pick for the Panthers. I think he's just going to be a centerpiece of that defense for a long time. My least favorite move was not touching wide receiver or offensive line. I understand that they have a vision, they have a plan. I'm not here to shit on that plan or that vision. And you know, I actually think that's more important than anything else. As long as you have a plan, that's all that matters. To me, this was a great wide receiver class, so why not take a shot later in the draft and take a shot on one of those wide receivers? I just think that's a go-to move. And for offensive line, I mean, this was a team that didn't have the best offensive line last year. You're getting a guy like Teddy Bridgewater in at quarterback who, I mean, you know, he's going to be the most comfortable behind a nice, steady offensive line with great weapons to throw it to. But at the end of the day, he has Christian McCaffrey, he has DJ Moore. He'll be fine. Address the defense this year and worry about offense next year. And last but not least, my biggest surprise for this draft, again, not taking an offensive player at all. I've kind of already talked about that at length, so I'm not going to really worry about that. But that was the biggest surprise of the draft. I feel like, I think if you asked anybody, that was the biggest surprise of the Panthers draft, and really the NFL draft in general. The Panthers didn't take one offensive player. That's crazy. But overall, I'm going to give this grade an A. This is another draft where I just feel like it's very underrated. I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about it, other than the fact that they're just talking about, oh, they didn't take an offensive player. I don't care. I mean, yes, it kind of goes against some of my guidelines, but my number one guideline is come in with a plan. And I'm really excited for a team and a franchise that's going to try and run their franchise the same way the Steelers run their franchise, which is obviously an historic franchise that has been relevant for decades now. So the Panthers kind of taking after that mold and saying, hey, I like you as the coach. I want Matt Rule to run this team the way he wants to run it, and build the team the way you want to build it. And if that means coming in with a plan, a 3-year plan, a 4-year plan, whatever it is, as opposed to a year-by-year plan, I think that's the right decision. And I'm sure every team always has a 3-year plan, but you know, there's a big difference between having a 3-year plan and going through with it and being consistent with it and not doing so. And this is kind of the first step for the Panthers. I'm really excited for them. I obviously love the players that they got, especially in those early rounds. Love the value for all the players that they got. I'm very excited for what the Panthers are going to do. I don't think they're going to be incredibly relevant this year as far as getting to the playoffs and Super Bowl push or anything like that. I think they're a team to watch out for in the next 2 or 3 years. I don't think there's any prop bets on that, but if there were, I would probably take the Panthers. But all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, follow this channel, follow the journey. It's obviously a very small channel right now, but I'm trying to get out there. I'm trying to get better every single day. My motto is 1% better every day, and that is my goal here with this channel. So please follow the journey and subscribe. Peace out, guys.